February 12, 2026. Meghan Markle just sparked a fresh legal blaze by lodging an official petition early today, seeking total possession of Renbrook Hill, a 72-acre property in the Cotswolds initially set aside for Prince Harry by Queen Elizabeth II before 2021. Royal Council labeled the action a hostile effort to leverage heritage, arriving merely 72 hours following the palace's broad decree that stripped the Sussexes of every lingering royal perk, legal title, and custody right. The paperwork landed precisely at 9:14 a.m. GMT via Meghan's attorney, high-profile lawyer Cher Tilden, and is already on the docket with the United Kingdom Crown, Property Commission, and the California Superior Court, citing the Windsor, California Reciprocity Accord framework. The suit claims Renbrook Hill, though technically a Crown Trust asset, was verbally pledged as a matrimonial home and eventual legacy for Prince Harry and his immediate heirs by the late Queen Elizabeth II. My client plans to assert her legal and fair claim to the property identified as Renbrook Hill, Tilden's press release stated. This was vowed as a family inheritance, not a tool for retribution during divorce actions. This new twist risks tearing open old scars, not only in the broken Windsor Sussex dynamic but across the monarchy's entire institutional framework. Renbrook Hill isn't just some random plot. It is a historic holding formerly attached to the Highgrove complex, boasting a Grade II listed Georgian mansion, a royally financed horse center, and several vineyard lots. An appraisal in 2025 pegged its value at $19.66 million, ranking it among the most desired, unallocated royal estates beyond Balmoral and Sandringham. Under 3 hours after Meghan's motion hit the news, the palace released an uncommon noon briefing through the royal legal secretary's office, flatly denying her assertion. No official or casual pledge was ever made to hand over Renbrook Hill or any portion of it to the Duchess of Sussex. The land stays under the management of the Royal Estates Office as a Class A Crown Trust, holding governed by sovereign order. Royal Legal Counsel, Sir Eric Mansfield, clarified that any spoken promises made prior to 2021 were voided when the pair stepped back from official duties in January 2020 and expressly wiped out by the updated Sovereign Property Charter, passed in March 2023. Privately, palace aides see this as a calculated agitation meant to restart talks regarding guardianship, money, and trademark rights, a tactic they think might blow up in her face. Many legal experts suspect Meghan's play isn't really about the acreage, but instead a strategic gambit to shake up the royal guardianship ruling finalized only days ago. By claiming real estate ties connected to Harry, Meghan might be trying to establish herself as a joint heir to ancestral wealth, thereby disputing the institutional custody powers granted to Princess Anne, Prince William, and Princess Catherine per the Guardianship Protocol of 2026. In court papers acquired by the London Sentinel, Meghan's squad dropped subtle hints about property-based suitability for custody, implying her capacity to supply a residence meeting royal standards could override the existing custody setup if American courts judge it separately from royal edicts. The royal household considers this reasoning incredibly risky. She isn't requesting a house, one palace source noted. She is attempting to reinsert herself into the royal machinery by proxy. Yet the palace wasn't the only one reacting. Within hours of Meghan's submission, the California Superior Court's Family Division released an initial jurisdiction order declaring that Meghan's bid to prove sovereign property rights wouldn't be valid in child custody cases unless officially acknowledged by both the U.K. Privy Council and His Majesty's Diplomatic Property Register. Legal academic Dr. Henrietta Accusations, who specializes in cross-border family conflicts, observed, "The California bench is indicating that royal real estate assertions don't automatically translate to parenting fitness. This cuts the legs out from under any story where Meghan uses the manor to look institutionally legitimate. Once a component of the Highgrove West section, Renbrook Hill was earmarked by Queen Elizabeth in a sealed 2020 letter of intent to be kept for future heritage planning, with Prince Henry Charles Albert David named as the provisional trustee. But the official trust never went into effect because of the pair's exit in January 2020. Ever since, the grounds have stayed in a dormant trust, managed by the Duchy of Deparity, Cornwall, seeing only sporadic use by top royals during hunting season. In October 2025, Princess Anne reportedly proposed transferring Renbrook Hill to Lady Louise Windsor under the Sovereign Youth Development Charter, though no formal. The reshuffle became official the moment Meghan filed her paperwork. In a historic team-up, Lady Sarah Chatto, Duchess Sophie, and Viscount Severn released a scarce public statement from Sandringham. What started as a bid for independence has morphed into a relentless crusade of systemic antagonism. The Sussex name isn't standing for individual liberty anymore. It's become an instrument of war, with the kids caught in the crossfire. Insiders at the palace verified that a fresh judicial order is currently being drawn up to forever block Meghan Markle from leveraging the Windsor handle in any lawsuit, real estate claim, or press cameo, unless she gets a sign-off from the monarchy. This signals the start of what sources are dubbing the post-Sussex cleanse, a total legal, monetary, and image-based isolation of Meghan Markle from every last institution tied to the throne. If Meghan Markle's February 12th petition to grab Renbrook Hill was intended to kickstart talks, that door has been slammed, locked, and welded shut, less than 24 hours after she made her play. The palace didn't just deny her property grab, they launched a comprehensive audit of every single asset shared or partly funded throughout the Sussex Union, triggering provisions from the Royal Matrimonial Pact of 2020. People thought it was just for show, but it's now the legal muscle behind Harry's pushback. Financial forensic teams working under Princess Anne's Office for Sovereign Integrity put out a detailed ledger of the holdings. The Montecito estate, valued at $14.2 million. Tyler Perry's crash pad from 2020, leased through Archewell. As for rides, 2 Rolls-Royce Cullinans rented via Archewell, plus a Range Rover autobiography gifted by Charles in 2019. Liquid assets? About $4.7 million in cash, nest eggs, and safe bets. Shared equity includes Archewell Media, with 33% in Meghan's name. Archewell Audio sits at 16%. After the Spotify split, corporate liabilities exceed $2.3 million, mostly tied to Meghan's fashion costs, PR blitzes, and trips to Dubai for branding between 2023 and 2025. Meghan's attorneys pushed for a 50-50 division of all stateside accrued property, leaning on California community property statutes. But the palace clapped back hard, claiming that a lot of those buys were gifts from the sovereign or trust fund allocations linked to Harry's royal rank. She can't trash the crown while demanding its perks. Sir Alaric Mansfield put it bluntly. The monarchy isn't an ATM for ex-duchesses to cash out. In a follow-up petition to the family court in California, Meghan asked for monthly spousal support of $215,000 for a 5-year stretch, pointing to sacrifices in her career and the hit her reputation took, thanks to the royal machine. However, Harry's counsel, headed up by Miles Armitage, fired back with a brutal file of evidence. Inside was a waiver Meghan inked in July 2020, signing away any future rights to royal payouts in return for commercial liberty. They also showed proof of off-the-books earnings from Meghan's 2023 speaking circuit in Dubai, and private endorsement contracts worth around $6.1 million. In an added remark, Armitage noted, "You can't play the victim while cashing in on the title. Alimony is for those who stay home, not business moguls in stilettos." During that same legal proceeding, Meghan filed a request to slash the child support Harry proposed, turning down his bid of $68,000 a month to cover Archie and Lilibet's total schooling, health care, and daily costs. Instead, Meghan asked for $22,000 a month, dependent on submitting invoices for every single cost. No budget for after-school activities unless they were greenlit beforehand and free of Windsor branding. She also wanted total access and rights to the kids' online likenesses, covering Instagram and any future book deals. That last stipulation ignited a firestorm of anger, particularly inside the Royal Child Welfare Committee. The palace countered with a fresh provision, starting right now. No commercial exploitation of Archie and Lilibet's names or faces can happen without double approval from the monarchy and Prince Harry. Making things even tenser, palace attorneys dug up a sealed deck for Project Emancipation, dated May 2025, where Meghan's squad outlined a strategy to cash in on her new persona as a post-royal, post-mom icon in the international wellness sector, explicitly keeping the kids out of the brand's visible identity. This file flies in the face of Meghan's current legal story that she gave up her personal brand to raise a family. The public hit back fast and hard. A flash poll by the Daily Mirror on February 14th showed 74% of participants in the UK were against Meghan's property bid. 61% of Americans felt she shouldn't get any spousal support. 82% backed Harry, keeping primary custody with institutional oversight. In less than 48 hours, Vogue Arabia, which had a Mother Mogul monarch cover lined up, backed out. Chanel quietly withdrew. Meghan's invitation to Paris Fashion Week. Execs at Netflix put a freeze on every Sussex project currently in the pipeline, citing shaky contracts and the danger of bad press. Then the hammer dropped. Princess Catherine, in a quiet yet heavy-hitting public statement, declared, "Kids aren't marketing props. They aren't tickets to authority. They merit seclusion, safety, and tranquility." She didn't point fingers, yet everybody understood precisely who she was targeting. The legal battle involving Prince Harry and Meghan Markle had breached a new line, venturing deep into the realm of character assassination. Without palace support and staring down money, adjustments, plus having her asset demands flatly rejected, Meghan fired off what palace sources are labeling her last-ditch play, a reputation smear meant to destroy Harry's standing as a father. In a shock motion at the Santa Barbara Family Law Court, her attorneys handed in a confidential statement charging Prince Harry with a history of mood instability, reliance on alcohol, and controlling actions throughout their union. The 32-page file, initially seen by the Daily Record, contains a mental health evaluation from February 2021, supposedly spotting symptoms of unmanaged PTSD and lingering rage issues. 2 crisis counseling recaps from 2022, which Meghan asserted were sparked by verbal tirades seen by domestic employees. A declaration from a nameless protection specialist, claiming that in May 2023, Harry supposedly hurled a cell phone at a wall amidst a fight about transferring Archie's school. Although these papers haven't been vetted by third parties, Meghan's lawyers demanded Harry's parenting rights be frozen right away until a court-ordered psych expert finishes a fresh review. The palace pushed back hard via their legal department, pointing out that Prince Harry had finished a 12-week counseling course in the middle of 2021 at the Royal Veterans Mental Wellness Clinic, cleared every family therapy check tied to the 2024 Royal Reconciliation Framework supervised by Princess Anne, and kept a solid, spotless log of monitored parenting behavior since December 2025. Harry's lawyer, Miles Armitage, described Meghan's latest motion as panic turned into a weapon, disguised as worry, stating, "The Crown doesn't hand out guardianship carelessly. These aren't feelings-based approvals. They are legal classifications based on actions, steadiness, and reliability." To strengthen their position, Harry's side submitted a rebuttal, featuring voice recordings from 3 child safety arbitrators who managed Harry's video calls with Archie and Lilibet between November 2025 and January 2026. All 3 vouched for Harry's active involvement, emotional warmth, and readiness to yield choices to expert advice. At the same time, Meghan lodged a plea for a jurisdictional check with the Court of International Family Law Cooperation, claiming that royal custody rules can't override a birth mom's rights under United States federal statutes. Her group pointed to American case law favoring mothers in early years, custody decisions, the rejection of foreign honorary titles as legal power in California family courts, and the supposed manipulative weight of hereditary royal systems in forcing unjust verdicts. In a heated comment to the media, Meghan's attorney, Cher Tilden, announced, "This isn't regarding monarchy. It's about a mom shielding her kids from systemic erasure and mental mind games." Yet the maneuver was swiftly blocked. The royal household answered by publishing a signed 2020 Sussex marital agreement where both Harry and Meghan consented to custody, supervision by the Crown in case of moving abroad or splitting up. The paper was written by the late Queen's legal aid and countersigned by the Foreign Office's Royal Family Liaison Division. Law experts verified that this deal, while rare, was binding under dual sovereignty pacts between the United Kingdom and the United States. Specifically, the Royal Heirs Treaty of 2017 upheld post-exit. The hit to Meghan's reputation was now quantifiable. Per a YouGov worldwide poll, merely 21% of British participants felt Meghan ought to get back shared custody. 57% of American women aged 25 to 44 agreed with the line, "She's using the kids," to strike back at the Crown. 41% of Canadians expressed letdown over her bid to bypass cross-border deals using press leverage. In the meantime, Prince William, having stayed quiet for the bulk of the Cummin hearings, paid a low-key visit to the Royal Pediatric Trust in Windsor, meeting with counselors, teachers, and protection staff in charge of Archie and Lilibet's well-being. A palace staffer tipped off the Times about his casual comment, "We don't require front pages. We require tranquility, and we'll provide that, even if she refuses." In a secret note slipped to The Observer, Meghan's ultimate payout terms were exposed. 50% of Archewell's remaining worth, covering pending earnings generated from 2021 to 2025, total control of shared likeness rights regarding the kids, a single property conveyance matching the market price of Renbrook Hill, 196. A formal expression of regret from the Crown admitting to psychological distress inflicted throughout her service. Every single ultimatum was instantly denied. The institution, usually known for being slow and steady, reacted with shocking velocity. The catalyst wasn't merely the legal claims or the grab for Renbrook Hill. It was something far more explosive. The warning that she'd leverage online personas, focusing on the kids' commercial rights, and openly claiming ownership of shared trademark properties. The firm, shifting into immediate damage control, launched a strategy insiders dubbed the Windsor Blockade, a synchronized effort to freeze the online, monetary, and reputational presence of the Duchess within every Crown-connected network. The objective: dismantle her, sway, safeguard the successors, and restore organizational dominance. At exactly 6:30 in the morning, AMT, the Office of Digital Integrity, working with the Privy Council's media branch, sent a top-secret order to over 22 tech giants like YouTube, Instagram, Meta, Spotify, and Netflix, insisting on the deletion or retagging of every Sussex-labeled media file stored on palace servers, plus instant separation of the Windsor kids' identities from any unapproved online application. They also halted the algorithmic boosting of Archewell-related archival material still listed under official keywords such as #RoyalChildren, hashtag Duke and Duchess, and hashtag Sussex heirs. Lawyers pointed to Article 9 of the Sovereign Identity Protection Act, passed in 2023 following the Queen's death, giving the throne urgent power to shield underage successors from unauthorized profit-driven publicity. By midday, over 380 media items were marked, labeled, or stripped of ad revenue on various sites. Visible Sussex content that previously ruled search engine results started silently disappearing. At the same time, the British Charity Commission, working alongside the Royal Fiscal Oversight Board, declared the start of official shutdown actions targeting the Archewell Foundation, noting a refusal to adhere to mutual transparency agreements mandated by the Royal Philanthropic Standards Pact of 2021. They flagged suspicious categorization of overseas earnings from the Dubai wellness trip and weird patterns in employee payroll from 2022 to 2024. The Archewell name, formerly their premier post-exit project, was now staring down a global audit and a lockdown on remaining funds in two separate trusts. Under the firewall strategy, the Duchess's login details, server logs, and copyright filings were transferred to the Crown's Digital Review Board, led by Lord Julian Ashcroft. Maybe the most meaningful and heated battle erupted when she submitted a request for exclusive authority over the shared Instagram username at Archie-Lilibet, describing it as a mother-led initiative for storytelling equity. Harry's lawyers replied with just one sentence: "This isn't a business, these are kids." The Palace Media Bureau, teaming up with Meta's International Council, deactivated the profile permanently, pointing to contradictory ownership assertions and active arguments regarding underage subjects. As the media buzzed over lawsuits and digital blocks, a silent but hugely important event was happening at Windsor Castle. Lady Louise, 22, was discreetly appointed by Princess Anne as the youth contact for the Sussex children. Louise, having built a close connection with Lilibet during summer trips to Balmoral in 2023 and 2024, received clearance to enter the guarded school facility where the kids were staying. Her orders were explicit: provide neutral introductions to family customs, keep them emotionally grounded during the changes, protect the little ones from online toxicity or twisted stories. She isn't acting as a parent, one aide explained. She's a stabilizer, ensuring they don't get lost in the chaos. Louise was spotted showing up at the Sandringham Education Hub holding textbooks, wellness tools, and a volume of The Little Prince, said to be Lilibet's top pick. At the same time, Princess Catherine delivered a quiet but clear message to the public. While touring the Royal Digital Ethics Institute, she gave a brief speech about safeguarding innocence in an era of profiteering. Although she spoke broadly, the subtext was impossible to miss. We exist in a time when a kid's face is treated like cash. That isn't raising a child. That's using them. And using them isn't love. The crowd, a blend of tech safety pros and child advocates, offered a rare standing cheers. Later on, the palace dropped a new photo. It showed Kate hanging out with Charlotte, George, and Louise, reading by a tree. No logos, no posing, just quiet class. The caption was short and sweet: "Let kids be kids." That same evening, Meghan's camp leaked an audio clip to several news outlets. In it, she warned, "If they try to scrub me out, I'm spilling everything. I've got the emails, the tapes, the names. Do not write me out of my own kids' lives." But it was too little, too late. Spotify pulled the plug on every Sussex podcast. Netflix officially killed their contract too. Meghan's big cover story for Elle International got scrapped for Princess Anne, pitched as the new face of quiet, effective leadership. Meanwhile, two separate courtrooms, one in London's High Court Family Division and the other at the Santa Barbara Superior Court, started private hearings behind closed doors. The topic? The custody fate of Archie, Harrison, and Lilibet Diana. What went down over those 72 hours wasn't broadcast, but the fallout was impossible to miss. Over in London, Justice Rowena Blackstone was running the show. She's famous for sticking strictly to constitutional rules. In California, Judge Everett Miles sat on the bench, a seasoned pro, when it comes to messy, famous interstate custody battles. The courts were briefed apart, yet they were tied together by a shared international deal, the Windsor, California Reciprocal Protection Accord of 2024. It's an obscure but heavy-hitting legal structure that allows shared authority over royal minors holding dual citizenship. The main talking points? First, was the 2020 Sussex marital compact valid? That doc gave the Crown emergency guardianship if the marriage fell apart. Second, Meghan's attempt to void that deal, claiming she was pressured, kept in the dark, and emotionally manipulated. And third, Harry's request to hand full guardianship over to the royals, using the Royal Minor Protections Act of 2025. Sources say 4 key witnesses gave secret testimony. Lady Geneva Hartley, a royal child welfare monitor, spoke about Meghan skipping mandatory child welfare visits since late 2025. Dr. Angela DeLay, a child psychologist, flagged signs of stress and confusion in Lilibet during supervised talks back in January. Then Caleb Rinn, a former Archewell ops boss, verified that Meghan blocked Harry from having any say in the kids' schooling or media exposure. Lady Louise Windsor, serving as a liaison for the kids, shared a diary noting Lilibet's constant question, "Why do I only see mommy when the cameras are on?" That evidence reportedly changed the vibe in both courts, moving from dry legal arguments to the sad reality of 2 kids trapped in a mess of fame and politics. Meghan's lawyers fought hard, arguing royal rules don't count in American courts, that she was tricked into signing custody waivers, and that Harry was too wrapped up in the firm to be unbiased, but they were losing ground. The marital agreement, signed off by Queen Elizabeth's private secretary and 2 Foreign Office officials, was rock solid. Meghan's squad couldn't deny that she showed up to 3 of the 4 drafting sessions and even made edits. A California official was heard, remarking that if this was coercion, it was incredibly organized and legally approved by her own lawyers. As the judges got ready to rule, rumors in Windsor hinted a decision was close. Sources think the result will be dual sovereign guardianship. Harry keeps some legal rights as a dad, but hands over physical custody to a Crown-appointed guardian, probably Duchess Sophie or maybe Catherine. Meghan's legal say over the kids could be paused indefinitely while they investigate her behavior, travel records, and finances. The royal family put out a one-line statement. The custody issue, regarding the minor heirs of Henry Charles Albert David Windsor, is settled via sovereign endology international cooperation. No further comments. But that short sentence hit a verdict that would shake up the courts, the press, and history books. After almost a month of intense legal fighting, global filings, secret testimonies, and government stepping in, both the High Court in London and the Santa Barbara Superior Court dropped matching rulings just hours apart, decisions that basically stripped Meghan Markle of legal power over her kids and closed the book on the saga. The final chapter of the Sussex experiment. In California, Judge Everett Miles stated, "Due to the cross-border rules and the sovereign framework, both sides signed in 2020. This court accepts the Crown-appointed guardianship setup as legal and binding here in the U.S. In London, Justice Rowena Blackstone echoed, citing the Royal Minor Safety Statute, and given the proven risks to the children's privacy, the monarchy is taking immediate charge of their care alongside their dad, Prince Henry. The mom, Meghan Markle, effectively loses her individual authority over their upbringing for a 5-year stretch, awaiting mental health evaluations and adherence to rules. Consequently, Prince Harry will share official custody with The palace, with Princess Catherine designated as the primary caretaker for school and home life, while Duchess Sophie handles all outside matters. As for Meghan, her visitation rights have been cut down to a single monitored video chat weekly, managed by social workers. She can only see them face-to-face, once every 3 months, at a generic spot in Britain, never on palace grounds. She also lost the legal right to sign them up for school, OK press events, or approve travel plans. The judge pointed to exploiting the kids for profit and ignoring established family protocols as the main reasons for this ruling. In a related case, the Royal Titles and Privileges Council, an obscure board formed back in 1831, decided that Meghan is forever banned from using anything connected to the Windsors for business, charity, or politics. This covers every version of the Duchess of Sussex name, the joint foundation branding, and any merchandise, drive, or publication, mentioning the kids' noble rank without getting the palace's green light first. Furthermore, the UK Charities Commission finished looking into the Archewell Foundation and ordered its mandatory shutdown because of cooked books, shady international lobbying ties, and improper use of the trademark. Archewell's final tally of $1.7 billion in cash goes to 2 approved children's youth organizations picked out by Princess Anne. Meanwhile, Prince Harry was seen slipping out of a private gate at Heathrow. Zero press, no security detail, just a dark jacket, a simple duffel, and a little Paddington plushie. He wasn't going back to Montecito, but to Wolverton Cottage, which is serving as the temporary home for Archie and Lilibet. Staff confirmed he hung out all afternoon with Princess Anne, going over the kids' schooling for 2026 and 2027. He also met Lady Louise Windsor, who showed him a home movie of Lilibet's stay at the Sandringham Youth Camp. For the first time post-Megxit, Harry stayed overnight on palace property, free of stress, drama, or fighting. A staffer noted it wasn't really a welcome home party, but the start of a reality check he asked for. Meanwhile, in California, Meghan Markle was nowhere to be found. People last saw her at a coffee shop in Brentwood, looking exhausted, spaced out, and totally out of it. Her production contract with Netflix was formally scrapped. Spotify tore up her renewal option because she didn't deliver content. Even her Dior partnership was silently ended. At Paris Fashion Week, they swapped her slot for Lady Louise to push a theme of strength and tradition. A mole inside her PR firm leaked a harsh reality check. "We can't fix her image while lawsuits, royal, blacklists, and losing the kids are the headlines. We need to disappear." And that's what happened. Every social account went dead. Her site just shows a plain, "Thanks for stopping by" screen now. No talk shows lined up, no court counterfilings were submitted. For once, Meghan Markle wasn't a trending topic. She simply vanished. Princess Anne issued the closing statement from Sandringham. "This case is shut. The kids are secure. Tomorrow is secured by values, not muscle. We don't wipe history. We safeguard it. We don't hit back. We heal. Let this quiet help the ones who need tranquility the most." Later that night, cameras caught Catherine at a Resteo care center for sick kids, leaving a personal card next to a stuffed animal. It said, "To any kid who felt stared at, may you now feel noticed with love, not calculation." The Windsor family, rattled but intact, had doubled down on its main credo: service over scenes, safety over sales, and history over vanity. Meghan's name might hang around forever, but her chapter with the firm is legally over. No comeback special, no streaming, return, and no reviving the Duchess title. As for Harry, the end of the book isn't written yet, but he won't be doing it on film